How's it going, brother?
Hey, good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good. Can you hear me okay? Everything
I
good?
can hear you good. How about me?
Yeah. Look, sounds perfect, mate.
Oh, that's good.
So,
Good, good.
you're in the gym there, are you?
Oh, that's just a garage, man. Um,
You
everyone's
converted it into a gym.
yeah, everyone's still awake, so it's the only place to kind of run away to.
Bit of peace and quiet. How's your day been, man?
Yeah, pretty solid, man. And yourself?
Yeah, well, it's what time is it? It's 10 to 9 in the
Yes.
morning. So I've been to the gym this morning, done a little bit on the treadmill, and tried to do some stomach ab work, but not
Oh,
much
nice.
machines there for it. So yeah, I'm trying to integrate a little bit of cardio first thing in the morning, and then lift weights in the afternoon. So
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, man. I mean, I guess the reason why I message you, mate, is because I come across you on TikTok, obviously, and your energy just, I don't know, just seem like you've got this really good energy, happiness about you, and things like that. And I just wanted to get to know you a bit more and just, listen to your journey and sort of, so you understand why I do it, right? This is like a men's mental health podcast, shall we say?
Yep.
It's a mental health podcast for everybody, but initially it was started for men's mental health. And obviously, you put it out there publicly that you've been you've fluctuated up and down with your weight a lot, and you're on this journey now to try and hit a certain target, which I think is fantastic what you're doing. And it's clear to see that, all the positive sort of affirmations you're getting on social media, and everybody's geeing you up and things like that. And yeah, man, I just thought, I want to get to know this guy and see what he's about and see how, how his mind works. And that's sort of where I'm at now. I'm on this journey myself. You've probably seen a few of my clips as to my story and things like that. And, I just want to get to know people and sort of make people realize that we're not the only people struggling in life, right? Everybody's got their own demons, their own struggles to fight, and we can do it together. We sort of, we think things are really difficult in life, which they are, but I mean, coming together in communication it's a beneficial part of success, I believe in.
Yeah, no,
So
great.
yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Nah, thanks, man. Yeah, I don't really know what to expect. But yeah, I've been looking through a couple of things on YouTube this afternoon and evening, kind of going through a couple of the guys that you've had a chat to, and yeah, no, I like what you do, man. It's awareness in all good things, I guess. I'm always into it, man. So hey,
Yeah.
why not?
Why not, man? Why not? So we'll take it back. Obviously, you're from New Zealand.
Yeah.
You're of Samoa descent, I think, if I can remember you saying.
Yeah.
I love all sort of the Polynesian stuff. I've covered in Polynesian tattoos myself.
Oh, nice.
One of my favourite films is Once Were Warriors. You've
Yep.
probably seen that film. Love
Mm-hmm.
that film. So yeah, man, if we run it back and sort of start at the beginning, when you were a kid, where you grew up, hobbies, interests, things like that, and we'll just sort of step by step, we'll go through your life and get to where we are now,
Yeah, cool as,
if
man.
that's okay
So
with you.
sounds good. And just stop me, man, if you want to get me to elaborate on something that I've gone through. But basically, I was born in Auckland, New Zealand, and grew up there. I think I was about 10 years old before we moved out. But I guess growing up as a young fella, I was about 8 years old. 8 years old, and I realized that I was started to get bigger than everyone else. You'd wait for those class photos to come about, and sure enough, from 8 years old, I was bigger than everyone else. I guess I always loved food. Food was a bit of a retreat. However, I guess growing up, we weren't the richest people on the block, and so maybe that survivor mentality kicks in. Get as much as you can before it all disappears. That was also coupled with everything you put on your plate, you eat. You don't leave anything behind. And so I must have taken that to heart throughout the years growing up. And so as a young fella, I got into athletics. And as a part of that, when you're young, you have to participate in all the events. It wasn't go and specialize in a specific event. And although I enjoyed the discus and the shot put throwing things, I also had to go in the races. And I think that was an interesting experience where it was highlighted again that I was a big boy, and that big boys should only do specific things. One of the things I can remember was actually at the end of every athletics evening, there was a race. And based on the previous race, you were given what they call, interesting word, but a handicap, where if you came last, you were able to take 3 steps forward to begin the race, just to give you a fighting chance. One of my earliest memories, I was given, I come last every time. So this one race, I was given 17 steps ahead of everyone. And while I looked at them, I thought, yeah, 17 steps closer than everyone else. As I started taking those 17 steps, man, everyone began to laugh at the laughter, the mocking. And I guess that was one day I can remember thinking, yeah, nah, this is an interesting place that I'm currently in. But couldn't really understand, what to do or how to get myself out of it. And so, yeah, went on from there, got into a little bit of rugby, definitely a rugby fan. I mean, here in New Zealand, it's kind of the thing you lean to. And I was always actively involved in things, but by design, I loved food. It was I don't know, it was a go-to thing. And I didn't really understand why my body was expanding a lot faster than anyone's. So just continued on and doing my thing. But growing up as a young fella, man, kids can be ruthless, especially in the area that I was in at the time in Auckland. There's no filter. There was no filter. Call a spade a spade. If you're the fat boy, you're the fat boy. If you're the fast person, you're the fast person. And you were, I guess, identified by those kind of features. So that was something at school, but also within the wider family, I was also treated like that. It was highlighted. My size was always highlighted. My plate was always bigger than everyone else's because obviously I love food. So I guess growing up, it was fed into. Interesting word to use, but they fed me into that kind of thinking where you love food, so have more. But yeah, I guess that was kind of the start to it, where I started noticing things. And then come the end of what we have as primary school, which was about 11 years old, I moved from Auckland to a place called Raglan, and it just got more brutal, the kids and the way that I was treated. Bullying was there. I guess it was more words growing up as a young fella, and so I had to deal with a lot of that, not really understanding what self-image was or self-esteem as a young fella, but kind of dealing with those those different interactions from not just kids my age or older kids, but adults as well. So yeah, I guess that's where it started, man.
Tough, man. I mean, I'm trying to sort of picture that childhood, and it sounds like a very similar sort of, country to Britain as far as, the way the youth and sports systems and things like that work, and just in general. I mean, you get bullies in high schools all across the world. I was bullied quite a lot in school. How did that sort of give you this? I'm just trying to think of how that sort of resonate into your adult life, just based on what my experience with my issues and how I grew up. did that give you sort of this defense mechanism as if to say, well, like food is my safe place, you know, when I feel depressed and sad or, you know, things like that? Because I do it myself, comfort eating, right? When we're sad, we eat. I got up, I think we work in stone over here. I think the heaviest I was about 26 stone, something like that, which is, 350 pound, maybe something like that. I'm down to about 20 and a half stone now. So about, I'm not sure what that is in pound. I'd be lying if I said I knew what it was. But I guess, did that sort of give you then, again, like you're saying, your family would say things to you and people in school, did that give you like this complex then growing up into your adult life? You know, as men, a lot of big boys, I'm a big boy myself, we sort of struggle with this body complex, this body dysmorphia and things like that, and I'll never be good, or I'll never look good, and I'll always be this way. And did that sort of then set your mindset for the future growing up?
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that statement because I didn't know anybody. You know, it was that stage and age of trying to understand what this life is about, understand, I guess, my place in whether it's society, community, family, within myself. And so I guess it got to the point where it was just a normal thing to crush me, you know, to try and say things that, whether it was intentional or not, but to literally try to hurt me. And so food, I have to say, without knowing, I guess, the future of it, food never disappointed. You know, what was it? Back in the day, we have meat pies are a big thing here. And so I know what it's going to taste like. I know how I'm going to feel in the moment of eating it. So it's not going to let me down as such. So I would go have one. And it would, you know, in the moment, you're feeling a bit better about yourself because you've got that connection to the food, the taste, endorphins are starting to kick. And so because there's so much outside noise coming in as a kid, I think, oh, well, if that's giving me that good feel for the moment, how about have another one and another one? And I guess, yeah, that comfort in the food. My thing is the comfort came from, again, knowing that the food's not going to judge me. Hey, and the people selling the food aren't going to judge me because paying their wage. So it's a vicious cycle that I got caught in, and still in. I'm not going to say I'm out completely. But growing up, it was definitely, get as much food as I can, specific foods. But also that understanding of who I was, because as a kid, you know, you're getting fed this certain thing, this certain image of who you are, because, you know, I don't really know. I didn't really understand what identity was. So I took it from all these people that I so-called trusted, or that were supposed to, I guess, take care of me, whether it's, you know, in the family or even at school. The adults, I thought I was supposed to trust them and that they were right. You know, as a kid growing up, I was kind of seen but not heard. And so I would think, well, if they're adults, what they're saying must be true. So that's what I adopted. I adopted that I'm supposed to be this big boy. I'm supposed to eat heaps, and that's part of my identity. And so moving into, I guess, the high school age, those things that I was trying to explore as a kid became habitual. They became things that I just ended up doing, and not even really thinking about until someone would say, "Man, you're just eating like 3 pies, man. Are you gonna share?" And I thought, why would I share? Go get your own. This is something that I was just doing. So I've always eaten a lot. And yeah, I know people say, "Oh no, I ate heaps. I always eat a lot of food," but man, I was packing tables of food away as a teenager, all the way into my adulthood. And going back to the I guess the main question you asked, I absolutely believe that without even knowing, those things as a child carried through to the behaviors that I now have as an adult that I'm currently working through.
Well, this is something that I've sort of been training in over the last, I'm going to say, 2 months, 3 months maybe. Trying to understand. I've probably been doing work on myself a lot longer, but as a sort of general topic, I've been looking into limited beliefs and how our childhood sort of operates into our adult life and things like that. And almost every single person that I speak to, irrespective of what the addiction is, everything stems from being a child and what is ingrained into us, our beliefs. And, you know, similar to what you're saying there, when you were saying about you're a big boy and we'll feed you. So my grandmother, she used to love me going to her house because she'd feed me and feed me and feed me. Oh, because I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'6", something like that. And because I was this big young boy, she'd be, here's my big boy and all this food and pancakes and all sorts. And it was brilliant at the time. But, you know, as you get older, you adopt that mindset, don't you? You adopt the mindset of your peers, the people that you aspire to be, the people that you look up to. And if they're doing things, you're going to copy it, even though you may not realize it. You're going to copy it. There was a lot of people around me when I was younger that were involved in drugs. So as I grew up, you know, I sort of orientated myself to that way of life. Took me took best part 20 years to get out of it, but it was because of the childhood and my beliefs, you know, family members taking drugs and I'd be around them and I'd think, what's this? This must be cool because they're doing it. You know, this must be a good thing to do because, you know, you've got cousins or aunties or uncles or parents or whatever doing it. When realistically, one thing that just resonated with me is these were the people that you thought you trusted. These were the people that were supposed to do right by you. And one thing I've realized is that's not always the case. Sometimes they might want to do right by you, but, you know, they're making it up just as much as you are.
Yeah.
But it's these. So one thing that sort of, it stung me in the heart a little bit there when you mentioned it. And you know what affirmation is, right? Where we speak to ourselves and we tell ourselves with this type of way. Or you mentioned there that people try to crush you. And it hurt me, that did, because even though you said people tried, by saying that word, it means they did. I could be wrong in saying that. I've used similar words in the past. People have tried to break me. People have tried to do this to me. But by saying it, you know, they've done it. Or it's just me trying to put this strong persona on of, they won't hurt me. And it fucking hurts, man. And it's stuff that stays with you for the rest of your life. I believe that I've beat a lot of my old affirmations where I'd say, I am this, I am that. I don't even say I was anymore, you know, or I'm trying not to. I'm working on it at the moment. Everything now I'm speak about is as positive as it could be, or as possibly positive as I can try and make it. And you, by saying that word, it touched me then when you said the word crush, because I've been there as a young boy. I was bullied a lot in high school until I started getting taller and bigger, and then people stopped bullying me there. Yeah, but it really resonated a lot with me because I'd get beaten up quite a lot when I was in primary school. And I've used similar words of what you just said there, and I've said, you know, they tried to do this or they tried to do that, when deep down, subconsciously, they fucking did. So I really understand and feel what you were saying then, so I appreciate that.
Man, thanks. So I guess just hearing what you've shared, man, you're right about that persona that trying to so-called there's a saying around here. Actually, a lot of places it's harden up, mate. Harden up. Take a concrete pool, and just build a bridge, mate. Get over it. And I think that's kind of again another thing that was taught, I guess, to me, is that if you're having any sort of feelings towards those things that others are doing, man, it's all on you. You know, it's not on those people, it's on you, because you're just soft. You're just taking it to heart when it's a so-called joke. And I used to think as a kid, but aren't jokes supposed to be funny? And I was actually thinking,
Not supposed to hurt.
Hey, well, exactly. Yesterday I was actually thinking, okay, if the joke is something, someone tells a joke, then the person they're telling it to, shouldn't it be funny to them? Because if it's not funny to them and it's using them as, I guess, the purpose of the joke so that the person telling it can laugh, that's not a joke. That's belittlement. You know, that's an ugly thing, man. And so I was often the back end of the joke, or the purpose of the joke, so that others could laugh at me. I didn't really, I encountered a lot of behind the back kind of bullying, and the teasing, the mocking of the names. And so when you say that there was a lot of physical bullying towards yourself, man, I can't imagine that, man. And I guess that's why I appreciate people like yourself who are willing to share the story, to open up with their vulnerability, and then be able to change those experiences for an opportunity for others to share, to connect, to I guess resonate with you, and then get awareness out there that it wasn't just you. And I feel like back then it was always that feeling. It was just me. No one knows what I'm going through. I was always the biggest. So people are saying, oh yeah, I was fat in high school and all that. But if you were at my high school, the same time as me, I was fatter than you. I was the heaviest, the biggest, the slowest. And these are all titles that, that were given. So I'm, again, saying, yes, they tried to crush me, but as you were talking, these are still titles that I hold within my past. And are still coming out, even to I finished high school in 2003. So that's like
we're the same age.
years.
We're the same age then.
Oh,
Are you're 38?
Yes, I'm 39 February.
Okay, I'm 38 in August, so you're a year older.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, same time. We were going through similar things, just different parts of the world. Yeah.
So it's funny, like you say, it's not funny, you should have said that about the joking sense of it, because I've got this nickname, right? I've got this nickname, Egghead. So my nickname's Egghead. Because when I was a young boy, I had sort of like a fully grown sized skull, but I was on like a child's body.
Nice.
And all my friends started calling me this nickname. And though it still stings now, but only my small group of friends call it me now, because we've all got nicknames for each other. But that sort of nickname in itself made me feel so insecure as a kid, like really insecure, because I was told, but I was like this. I was like a beanpole growing up. But it was only, I got to about 18 and I started filling out and, putting weight on. And, but yeah, I was so insecure. And like, if somebody, I'm 37 now, if somebody that doesn't know me calls me that nickname, my back goes up, and, I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? And it's ironic, isn't it, that the things that they're ingrained into us, right? They're all ingrained into us. Even like you just said there, a joke. And that's what made me think of my nickname, because for a joke to be funny, it's got to be funny to you, and it's not. So it's bullying almost.
Yeah, it does. That changes the purpose when you can understand, hang on, if the purpose of a joke is to make people laugh. But I guess going back to what you're saying about your small group of friends now with that name, something that I've looked at is the difference between banter amongst friends and close family and people that come in and that feel like they can just have that connection straight away. Well, and I get it. I want to acknowledge, a lot of people out there just don't know. They don't know. They have a perception of bigger people, and they think there's certain things that are okay. I kind of liken it to culture. I mean, something that I get a lot on my lives is, can you do a haka? And I'm like, well, actually, there's more to it than just that. And like when I see people randomly or meet people randomly, one thing that gets me is when they feel like they can touch my stomach and go, oh, you're a big boy. I'm like, well, it's good that your eyes are working well, and maybe you're representing Specsavers at the moment. But that space there, that doesn't work for me. And so not just the bullying, but the social norms around big people have been really interesting to reflect on why certain people think it's okay to do certain things. One of those things also that I think that I've done some studies in psychology when I did my social work degree, and I try to look at where people are coming from, and just because I'm on this journey of understanding where I'm at and other people doesn't mean other people are. And so one thing I always try to acknowledge is they just don't know. If you know, you know, and then, okay, accordingly to wherever you're at, you can be on a certain journey. But if you don't know, then you don't know. So I've had to kind of share with a lot of people, because I get it more often than not, where they'll feel like they can just, pat my stomach and say, oh, you're a big boy. And so I just have to educate them. And, what if you're a shorter person, how would you feel if I patted you on the head and go, oh, there you go, little fella, and it's kind of trying to understand how to put that forward, because if I'm not the nice person that I'm trying to be, and you do that to the wrong person, there could be a lot of negative outcomes that come from that, which actually would kind of lead into where, I guess, my after school years ended up, is that I became quite bitter with the people around me saying certain things, and then being a bigger person, you have that perception about you, especially myself, with the presence that I hold, that you're the one that can throw down or fight, or you're a violent person. I'm like, well, okay, if these are the things that are going to remove me away from being the fat guy and actually be seen in a different light, I thought to myself, well, yeah, let's explore this. And so that's kind of where I started to move into, where this kind of journey around being the fat guy to being this other person stepped in after high school. And so after high school, it went to a real dark place, man. A really dark place of a lot of anger, a lot of still experimenting and trying to understand who I was, but it came out, instead of just eating, it came out in a lot of aggression, where it was all misplaced. I didn't know what to do with it. I, again, still wasn't understanding my place in the world, actually. And so people kept saying, well, you're this guy now. So I kept going, and I feel like I'm a black or white person. It's either go 100% this way or go 100% that way. We don't do anything in between. And so that's kind of where it started to head, where that kind of dark hole, it came out in my physical actions, rather than just eating, because I was still smashing food. And especially when I was making my own money out of high school, when you make your own money, you can spend it on whatever you want. And my go-to was food.
Do you believe that, again, very similar to myself, growing up after high school, I became this bitter, manipulative individual who could sort of felt like the felt like, I don't want to say the world owes him a favour, but I'd been wronged growing up. So when you say you were bitter, I want to ask you the question. Were you bitter because of the bullying aspect, or were you bitter because you felt like you weren't given a chance by the people that loved you initially when you were a kid, because they sort of give you this outlook where you've grew up and had all these issues from other people, and the mindset of, eat as much food as you can, and like you said, now you disagree with that. Do you believe it was sort of you were angry at the mindset that you grew up with, or sort of the negative impact that it had on your life growing up?
That's a really good question. I'd go with a bit of both.
Yeah.
I think I did feel ripped off with certain things around statements that were made around, I guess, everything was about food. At home, man, mum and dad, they always tried to provide.
Yeah.
But I guess growing up and trying to understand, I guess, me and what I was going through, and trying to hold down 3 jobs and trying to provide for kids and the wider family. I don't envy where they were at. Lack of information, lack of knowing, what's going on in my mind. And so that part, it was just free for all. You got in where you got in, you ate whatever you could, and it just happened that I would always, there was no, I guess, parameters on how much I could eat, because it wasn't just eating at the table. I would literally wake up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, and I remember there's leftovers, and so I'd polish off the leftovers when I was a young fella. And so going back to it, I think part of it was around the things that were taught to me, but I think I was bitter more so that that people weren't giving me a shot, that people only saw me for the physical appearance, and not for anything else. Like, I felt as a young person, man, I've always felt that I have something to give the world, man. I had something so
I can see that
deep down.
I can see that.
And that's why, I guess, fast forwarding to now, that's why I do what I do. Is like, I'm at that place now where I don't give a stuff. Like, I'm me, and if you've got a problem, the coolest thing on social media is that you can just scroll by. But back then, I did feel that sense of entitlement. I've been wronged, I've been pushed out, I've been kicked, I've been spat on, I've been just totally, thrown, people throwing crap at me, literally, actually. But I guess that sense of entitlement that, okay, now you need to give me something back. That did kind of drive that frustration and that darkness to go, okay, you're actually not giving it back. I'm going to come take it. I'm going to come and take whatever I want. And that's what I became, is I became a taker of many things, a taker of, whatever you had. If I wanted it, I would take it. Whether that's your self-esteem or your happiness or whatever it is that you just, I guess, came into possession of, I would not only physically, I guess, put that presence out there, but I would take whatever I wanted. And again, it was that addictive behavior, because that's what it is. I mean, I'll name it. I don't think I have yet. Is that I was addicted to food. It became an addiction, and I was addicted to, I guess, anything I could get my hands on. And that's where kind of that darkness just beget darkness, and it was just such a whirlwind of, it was a crazy time as I left high school into my probably mid-20s, trying to navigate all this stuff, and probably not till my 30s when I started to understand, the effects of childhood, the effects of growing up and having certain things, I guess, placed upon you and not even knowing. You think, no, I'm fine, feeling great, I'm all right. But really, like you were saying, going back and breaking down every different part of childhood and where those, I guess, behaviors stem from. A lot of it's childhood, because, you know, you think you forget about it, but your memory, your body, everything within you and everything you do hasn't forgotten. That was the foundation that everything you are was built on. And I really resonate with what you're sharing about going back and actually looking at that little kid inside, connecting all those kind of behaviors and thoughts, process patterns. Yeah, man, it's real interesting to me.
I don't know whether you've seen it. I think I shared it with you, but I shared a story the other day of when I went to this sort of mindfulness exercise in a little town called Wigan. And we went there, and I had sort of this, it was almost like an out-of-body experience, where you shut your eyes, you do some breath work, and then you listen to this guy's voice. He takes you on this journey, and he said, right, we see yourself outside of your body now. So you picture yourself looking down on your own body. Then it was, now you're in the clouds, now you're in the sky, now you're flying. Now go back to the safest place you thought of as a child. So I ended up back in my bedroom, my childhood bedroom where I lived. And he said to me, look out the window and you'll see your childhood self in the distance. And the first time I mentioned this on a podcast, I got really emotional. I feel a lot better saying it now. But so where I used to live, there was a river separating North Wales, where I'm from, and Merseyside, so Liverpool and places like that. There's a river separating. And my childhood self was over the other side of this river. And I just started running across the river towards my childhood self, and he was running towards me. And when we got together, I cuddled him, and I've said it was like I was putting a coat of armour around my childhood self, and I was saying to him, I'll protect you now, I'll look after you, I've got you. So, whereas what that made me do was change my beliefs about my childhood. So that made, rather than constantly, whenever I think of being a child, I constantly have this state of fear or state of anxiety or insecurity or inferiousness, should we say. Now it was strength, wisdom, growth, guidance, because everything I know now, I have now instilled into my childhood self. Does that make sense? Or does that sound crazy?
No, not at all, man. Totally get it. Heck yeah.
Yeah, it was a really, really good experience. And again, you probably looked into things like that, but you know, if you can make just little things, meditating on certain moments when you were a child and whatever traumatic experience you've had and things like that, it worked, man. And I was this typical lad's lad where all my family and friends would say to me, just get on with it. Just shut up and get on with it, you know? And when I did that last year, it was one of the best experiences. So there was about 400 people in this room.
Oh, wow.
And there was guys from the UFC there. There was MMA fighters, judo, jiu-jitsu, businessmen, all sorts of, like, you know, sort of highly sought after people. And I burst out crying. I was crying like a baby when I come out of there. And I couldn't control it. It was like, it started with a little sob, you know, a little tear, and I was absolutely mulling my eyes out like a baby. And then after 10 minutes, everybody was cuddling me, giving me hugs, and I felt like the world had just gone, you know, just sort of lifted off my shoulders. And yeah, man, once we can start sort of breaking those negative experiences down and putting a positive spin on it, that's when our sort of negativity goes away. I mean, look at what you're doing now, man. You've got this, everybody's piling into you to speak to you, and you know, you're inspiring people, man. And you really are, because even when I seen you, it was, wow, look how positive this guy is, and I need a bit of this energy, you know. And without what you've been through, you probably, well, you wouldn't be the person you are today, irrespective of the journey you're on with your nutrition and diet and things like that. It's your positivity, because you know the world can be a fucking cruel place, man.
Yeah, it can, man. I think looking at it, like, yeah, I definitely agree that like, I used to resent it all. And I used to think, far out, like, this is pretty rough. And then, get what you just said and harden up, man. You'll be right. She'll be right, man. Just keep going. But I guess as of late, it is, man, we go through some crazy things in this life. And, but there are moments like you've just shared. That's an amazing moment to be able to, I guess, weed around the tree and let it breathe. Because that's what weeds do, they suffocate wherever they are. And being able to have that opportunity to actually weed it, have a look at it. Maybe there's some scars on the trunk. Maybe there's some a bit of a lean with it on the tree. But being able to I guess, acknowledge, hey, that did happen. And now that actually you're being able to wrap your arms around that younger self, there's that protection that was needed. Yes, it didn't come back then when it would have been great to have, but now, being in that space where you shared, I feel like I'm in a similar place to where I wish I would have been. I mean, I have a talk often with one of my really good friends, and we always talked about how, in a very entitled way, we talk about, man, how come we didn't have all these things that our kids now have? How come we didn't have that supportive parent that listened to what we needed and actually got in there the way that we needed it? So I feel like the positive vibes and these things that I put out there at the moment, mostly from the beginning of this year, is because, like you said, I understand it. The world can be an ugly trash place, and there is so much negativity, so much keyboard warriors, so many people just not understanding how to healthily put out what they're going through, so they just put it on everyone else. And I guess because I understand that, I feel like it's almost my duty to give that understanding and give back some positivity. And I share on my lives, man, that I'm not always the most positive guy. Like, I literally can walk into a room sometimes and the lights dim, and that was literally me sucking the energy. But it's acknowledging that, hey, it is what it is. But right now, in this mode, in this day, in this moment, I got a bit of energy. I got a bit of a positive vibe going, so I'm gonna share it. And I think that's what I'm trying to do with this new kind of blast this year, 2025. And I guess at the same time, there may be a bit of guilt from the way that I behaved in the later teenage years and my earlier 20s, where, man, like I said, I've heard some people, I've done some really nasty things. And I think even that experience has helped me understand, cool, well, not cool, but this is what happens when you do those things, and this is what happens when you do the positive stuff. So I guess right now I'm now in a place where the bullies, the hating, the name calling and all that, I guess I'm becoming more at peace with that and acknowledging maybe they just didn't know how to express themselves. Maybe back then it was just, maybe they were going through something, and that's just how they needed to let it out. Because of that understanding, when someone on my lives or even comments is negative, I have this whole different thing. The chat goes crazy. They absolutely roast the person with negativity. However, I have this firm belief that that's a person too behind that comment. And while it may not be my responsibility to get in there and help that person, my question is, if I don't, who will? Because the chat's not. They were roasting this person, the kingdom come. But if I have a firm belief, and it was hard at first, but I believe that if I can help this person and they can offload all that negativity to me, and, because I'm all right with where I'm at, and in the moment I'm exercising, so, it's clear thoughts and everything's going well at that time, then hopefully they won't take that negativity home. They won't take that negativity to maybe a child that may be struggling with weight issues or eating, and smash them the way that I felt I got smashed. And so for me, that hope, that is the key, is that I'm currently in a place when I go on my walks or exercise that it doesn't affect me. Maybe back in the day I would say it doesn't affect me, and it did, but right now, nah. But if I can do some kind of good to those that, are struggling themselves, or just think of themselves not in the most positive way, then yeah, cool. And I think those are one of my most favorite things when people jump on, and one of the main comments is, "Oh, where are you walking to, mate? You going to McDonald's?" That's the key starter when people try to, trigger me. And then the fact is, most of the time, all around the world, yeah, there's a McDonald's down the road because it's everywhere. And so instead of taking it to heart and actually talking it out and seeing if they're all right, 8 or 9 times out of 10, they change. "Oh, nah, sorry, mate, for the joke. I just good on you for what you're doing." And so it's always that hope. There's other times, the 2 or the 1 time that they just stay negative, and I'm like, it's not for me to change the world or change their world, but I believe in that saying, be the change you want to see in the world. And so, yeah, just some of those things there.
That's some powerful stuff, that, mate. Being able to take on somebody else's insecurities yourself is, that's powerful, that, mate. That really is, like, really strong stuff, man. I think when you've got people who like to, so like you said before, there's a difference between banter and taking the piss out of somebody, right? And me and all my friends, we have banter and we say some pretty, serious things to each other. And you're like, there's people who don't know us and they're like, what? That's, anywhere else you're throwing hands and we're like, yeah, we're only joking, it's, but then you've got the opposite side to that, which like you've just, explained to me there, and I've experienced myself, is that, especially when you're an adult, right? Is that a lot of these people who genuinely say something like that and mean it, even though you're willing to take on, what they're saying rather than them say it to somebody else, which is incredible. I've never heard that said before. They've also, like you said, they're a human. They've also got some underlying issues going on themselves. If they've really got to sit there and try and take the mick out of somebody else to make themselves feel better, then, they're in a far worse situation than you are, my friend. And that's, give me a little bit of goosebumps then, what you said there, mate, because it's strong. You've got to be really, really strong mentally to even accept doing something like that, never mind take it on. So I respect you and I appreciate you for that, mate.
I have to say, I have to make sure, almost like a disclaimer, I'm able to do that when I'm walking. I'm able to do that when I'm exercising out in the fresh air and all that. Doing it out and about when I'm not ready or in different environments, I can't say I'm ready to do that 100% of the time because I haven't been in that position. I guess it's more...
Nor should you have to be.
yeah. I picked that one. And I guess that one there, I guess because people are behind a keyboard. So, they do certain things, but face to face, I'm not sure if I've had too many of those interactions. Again, that would be a different kind of thing because, you're fronting up to a person So I don't want to put it out there that, this is something that I do all day, every day. It is something I want to grow into. But yeah, I just don't want to have this perception out there, that I'm driving down the road, someone cuts me off and suddenly I'm going to give them, high fives and smiles. I'm not at that stage yet, but it's definitely where we want to go.
Yeah, that's not what I meant by that. I mean, by all means, if somebody physically, puts you on your toes, you've got to defend yourself, haven't you? You can't just say somebody gives you the finger or whatever in the street. You're not just going to wave and say thanks very much. I get it. You've still got to defend yourself to a certain degree, right? I understand what you're saying. There's things that you can let go because people are sat behind a keyboard, but I guess if it was something face-to-face, that could be an entirely different outcome.
Yeah, I think that safety aspect changes it. However, actually, yeah, for me, as long as my children are safe and my wife is safe, if there's no safety issues here, I actually would, I'm trying to go to that extreme where, again, like, for me, an example of road rage, I guess, because I've had my share in my time, is that if someone cuts you off, you don't know them, you're in the wrong mood, possibly are going to lean towards reacting in a negative way. However, what happens when someone cuts you off, you're chasing them down and you realize, oh, that's my auntie. You suddenly switch. And that anger goes. I use that as an example because it happened to me. I was ready to chase this person down and then, oh no, that's someone I actually know who was near and dear to me. So if I can behave that way to them and make that switch, what's actually stopping me from doing that to a total stranger? Not where everyone's at and not where I'm fully at the moment. But again, if there's no safety issues to my family, to my wife and my kids, then that's kind of where I want to move to in all things, because again, I would love it if I was going through a bad day and something happened and I ended up making a mistake like cutting someone off, that someone would respect that and try to understand where I'm at. I don't know if it would ever happen, but again, the change that you want to see, give it a go.
That's good.
I try to say hello to everyone when I'm walking. There is a reason I haven't shared on the live about it, but one of the things is my presence. I want to be able to walk around and people feel safe without the perceptions of what they see coming towards them. I mean, I guess when it's a bit darker, when I'm walking earlier in the morning, the only thing they can see is my teeth until they get a bit closer. And so I'm trying to make sure that I smile a bit more and say hello to people. But that's an example, is that a lot of people are saying, oh, your neighborhood's so friendly. And I'm thinking, is it that they're friendly, or am I just giving an opportunity for people to engage and say hello and give them that kind of smile and vibe? Because I don't know this area. We only moved here, I don't know, not even a year ago. And everyone seems to react that way when you give them a smile, you give them a genuine hello and ask them how they're doing. And so I guess kind of, maybe a bit of positivity, or trialing it for a week in your own neighborhood. And I spoke to that, I think, yesterday, around a person saying, everyone around you seems so happy. But while we've talked about a lot of negativity being within people, I believe there's good in everyone too. Just sometimes it's a little deep down than the other person.
Actually, it just made me smile even then that you said try it in your own community. And I just sort of pictured in my head walking down the street and just saying hello to somebody I don't even know. And it made me smile. So happiness creates happiness, and more, emotions spread, don't they? Whatever they are, whether it's positive or negative. If somebody walks into a room and they're negative, you instantly feel it. Somebody's happy, and that's where I was literally just flicking through and I seen you and you were dead happy and singing, and I thought, who's this guy? And then I sort of just stayed and watched, and that's what I do. I was just watching. I thought, I like this guy, his energy's good, it's fun, and people were walking past and you were waving and hi and stuff like that. And I thought, let's listen to this guy and see what he's about. And really, really positive stuff. And I suppose we've spent the best part of 50 minutes talking about the negative aspects of humanity, which sort of leads me on to the positives. And I guess my first question is, what was it like when you became a father?
That was actually, at the time, I was in a dark place, but I vividly remember when my first child, my daughter, was born, and instantly my life changed, where I was no longer just thinking about myself. I was thinking about all these different things my daughter's going to be going through and what kind of experiences I would be giving her with the current person that I was. It was interesting. So I became a father at 20 years old.
I was 19,
married.
19, I was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, sorry, 21. I was married at 20 and I was 21 when she was born. And, it's a different thing when your child is born. I guess the other part of my connection to my daughter is, at the time, I didn't know any biological relatives of mine. So I'm adopted, and have always known and provided all the necessities, I guess, of life from my mum and dad, that I was adopted into. But she was my first blood relative that I had met.
Wow.
And so there was an extra connection there to her, and this really interesting desire to keep her safe from harm's way. It was actually a really ugly weather evening, but regardless of that rain and that coldness, man, I still felt that this new love, I guess. It was a new love. I had much love for my wife and my fams, but my daughter, as a father, there was just this new kind of approach to love, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I got two kids. My son's 17. My daughter's just turned 13. And it's different, right? You can experience all these ups and downs and highs and lows and sad times and happy times, but when they're born, man, it's like, wow. Never thought I could feel anything like this. And then the 17-year-old's grown up now, and he's doesn't want to speak to his dad no more. He's out with his friends all the time, and it's tough to accept. It's tough to accept that he's no longer your little boy. He's a young man. But yeah, man, the children sort of. Whoa, what's happening there? Battery's running low. There you are. Children sort of any issues you've got going on in life or struggling at all. Children take those feelings away as soon as you look at them. That's my beliefs anyway. Especially my daughter, when she was little, any issues that I've got, you just look at her and just melt away.
Yeah.
So you said you might
use it too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely. They can. They just look at you with those eyes and can I have something? And you just can't say no, right? It's just like, yeah, whatever. I'll just buy it. If you want something, I'll get it for you. So you married young as well?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got married at 20 years old. And yeah, some reason she's still sticking around.
Well, there's definitely a reason. I can see a reason. You seem like somebody who's extremely loved. I see you were out walking with your son and your wife yesterday, right? I see that.
Yeah, yesterday. Day before.
Day before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They Yeah. So I got 3 kids. My daughter, I was walking with today. She's 17.
Okay.
Almost 18. My middle boy, who I sometimes walk with, is 16, And then my young fella, he's 10 years old. And he's the one that will randomly meet me when I'm walking around the neighborhood with my wife. They'll pop up and yeah, no, that joy, man. That I mean, look, I see them every day. The way I've structured my work life is to be able to watch my kids grow up and be there for every single event they have, whatever they want to do. My kids are some go-getters, man. But I guess, again, going back to what I was saying about growing up, I wanted to be able to provide every single opportunity for them to succeed and teach them kind of specific to their desires. And so even though I see them every day, every moment, going for a walk the other day, and my wife and my youngest turned up in my walk, and I had no clue that they were coming, and just to see them both and the love and the support, man, it was I was actually happy that I was live, or else I would have been bawling my eyes out down the main road, just seeing my kids, my son, and that's what I'm grateful for, is that while at the beginning of my daughter and my middle boy's life, it was a bit rough for them, now things are really good between all of us. We've got a real good relationship, but it wasn't always that way. I guess that's another thing where my belief is that it's not over till it's over. And if you want to make some changes, like that can be fitness, health, and that can also be relationships too. But respecting that relationships is a two-way journey. Just because you're ready to make the change, you got to be willing to let them come to the party if they want to. And I'm just grateful that my kids, they've been through a bit with their old man, but yeah, they're really supportive, man. There's so much love there. And going back to around what you were saying about being a father and a husband, man, that's my everything at the moment. Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. It's a good piece of advice, that, as well. I mean, how do they feel about that dad becoming this sort of overnight social media sensation? They're really supportive of it. I thought it would be a bit awkward. And it's so awkward for me. When I'm not agreeing that this social media thingy, but what we have had in the area is we'll go to the local supermarket, and this guy comes running up, fully grown man. He comes up to me and he's like, "Hey mate, I seen you on the live. I follow you, meet my colleague, and I just finished a walk too." And he comes, gives me the biggest hug. All I'm thinking is, "Oh mate, I literally haven't gone home yet. I'm just sweating, and you've given me the biggest man hug anyone could give me." But that kind of stuff, it's cool. I still get awkward, so I'll smile and don't know what to say. But my kids, they really encourage it. They're really, really cool. I didn't think they would be. Where my middle son, he loves being on the lives. And he watches the lives when he's walking next to me. He gets a bit defensive when someone drops a negative comment. So Yeah.
try to tell him to kind of, it's all right. But no, they've been real supportive, even with their friends following on the lives too. And so I thought that would be a bit awkward for them, but they're mad supportive, and so was the wife. She's always asking me, "So what happened today? What's the new thing?" Even though she watches the lives too.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this to a couple of other people. I'm new to this sort of TikTok thing and social media in general when it comes to the podcast and the message that I want to send out. I've used social media for years as on a personal scale, but I believe that I've found my sort of calling card as to what I want to be and how I want to help people and things like that. And again, like I said, I'm new to it. And I was told this, and you probably already know this. You sound like a clever guy. that obviously if we put ourselves up there for people to see, if there's positive things being said, you're always going to get negative. It's just the way of life, you know. Wherever there's positive, there's negative. Wherever there's plus and minus and all this type of stuff, and yin and yang, all that type of stuff, we're always going to get it, and it's how we accept it. And I was always under the impression that nobody's going to say anything negative to me. I'm trying to help people, and I'm running this podcast to do with mental health, and I've had a couple of negative comments here and there, and my back's gone up, and I felt like I've had to explain myself when people have said to me, well, what's your experience with mental health? What do you know? And then I've just exploded like a bottle of pop, and I'm thinking, fucking, you don't know. But like my missus said, and a couple of my friends have said, you don't need to explain yourself. It's your, like I'm doing here now, I want to listen to your journey, which in turn helps me, which in turn helps somebody else. I'm not actively sitting down and saying I'm a psychiatrist or anything like that, because I'm not. But, you know, peer-on-peer conversation like we're doing now, I believe, helps just as much as those types of things, because other people would enjoy sitting and listening to two guys like me and you are now talking. It's so beneficial. But yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is we're always going to have negativity, and it's how we learn to deal with that and accept it. Like you said before, you take it extremely well, and if you can accept it for somebody else, you feel like you're doing that person justice. Next question, mate, or next topic, should we say, is carnivore diet. We had a little topic conversation yesterday, and you mentioned that you were on the carnivore diet, which I am as well. I've been on it since 26th of December 2024. I've been on it since, and I've lost since then, I've lost a little bit of weight before, but I've lost about 16 kilo, something like that maybe. I think I was 145 kilo-ish. And I'm around, I think I weighed myself this morning, I was 132 kilo, so 13 kilo since Christmas. But how's it treating you? How you feeling?
Yeah, no, I think, I don't, man, I love it. The first thing is, it's getting me cooking. Like I said, man, I've been, married for 18 years, and in that, previous to that, I was never cooking. She was always cooked for me. Probably in the first 10 years of my marriage, I only cooked once, man. And carnivores helped me actually get up and find I just love that sizzle, man. I just cook on my my barbecue because like everyone eats basically what I eat, and so just that sound, that sizzle, man, it gets me. The meat side of it too, I've always loved meat, but then you tell me that there's actual science behind eating just meat, and I'm just going to say, yeah, that's definitely true. I love that. So giving it a go, I've had a go at it before, but never this long. And I've got to say, for me personally, I believe the benefits of it have definitely shown through around the inflammation in my joints. That they're gone. You know, it's totally gone. Everyone asks me, how are you walking and how's your back? My back's behind me. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with my back. How are your knees? Nothing wrong. Only thing that happens with my knees is when I'm not looking properly and kind of walk on an uneven path or something. I do have an issue with my left ankle, but I know that if I wasn't doing carnivore, I probably wouldn't be able to walk. And that's the only thing I can put it down to, is that the meat side and the inflammatory and all of that stuff. It's been amazing. The other part of it that I love is that I don't get full and bloated. There is zero bloating, and that's something that I always carry with me is just at the top of the stomach. There's this table that I used to have, and yeah, it's not there because but there's no carbs and the sugar, and so it's beautiful. Yeah, 2 words, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I feel as though it's given me a lot of benefits so far. So basically, I'm eating meat, fish, eggs, and cheese. That's it. That's all I eat. And just the cheese and the eggs give me that little bit of, just a little bit more of a kick. When I'm cooking everything in beef tallow, beef fat, or olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I use a lot of that as well. And my energy is fantastic. I'd say the one thing that I'm hoping that is to do with it is my brain fog is gone. So I have a lot more clarity in the direction that I want to go in, and sort of, okay, I'm only what, say 6 weeks in, maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks in, and I feel as though this is just the beginning. And when people say it's a diet, I don't feel like it is for me. I feel like this is going to be a way of eating for the rest of my life, whereas I've got everything that I need. So I have salmon oil tablets. I use salmon oil tablets. I've got magnesium 5-in-1, and I use Celtic salt. So I cook everything with Celtic salt, which is good for you. Don't know if you've heard of him, but if you haven't, have a look at these 2 guys. So there's Gary Brecker and what's his name? Wait there. Sean. I'll find them for you now, and you can watch these guys. They'll give you a lot of good insight. Because I noticed you were looking at like supplements the other day on your live. Sean Murphy, Gary Brecker, and Sean Murphy.
Gary Brecker, Sean Murphy.
So 2 really good guys when it comes to the human body, human anatomy, and supplementation alongside carnivore. The thing is with the carnivore diet, it's not for everybody, right? Not a lot of people sort of snub their nose at it. I've spoke to a lot of PTs who say it's awful. I've spoke to some PTs who say, it's highly beneficial. If you want to do it and you find the benefits from it, stay with it. I'm going to do it till for probably the summertime. And then I'm going to introduce, they call it sort of the primal diet. Well, I'll introduce small amounts of sweet potato in and around when I go to the gym, just to give my carb lift so my strength can sort of stay the same. But apart from that, I'll just literally add in a little bit of sweet potato and stick to what I'm doing now, because I love it. Like you said, it's beautiful, because I suffered a lot for a long time with heartburn and bloating, probably from drinking, smoking, and taking drugs. There's no beating around the bush. That's probably what it's from. So I struggled for a long time, where if I lay down on my back or on my side, I'd get this pain in my chest, like my chest was about to explode. So I've been asthmatic for a long time. And for a long, long time, every time I'd lie down in bed, I'd need my inhaler. So just because I was lying flat on my back. And I'd say since Christmas, I've probably used my inhaler 2 or 3 times, maybe. But before that, it was every day, literally every day. When I'd get in bed, I'd have to take it. And now I've probably took it 2 or 3 times in 4 or 5 weeks. I struggled as well. I've got a dodgy left ankle from football. I got an airline fracture in my left ankle probably 10 years ago playing football. I was a goalkeeper and I came out and got my ankle whacked. So that I struggled with a lot of pain in that. I started carnivore while I had a bad back. So I'm still struggling with a little bit of pain in my back. That's probably because of the injury that I gave myself before Christmas. But I love it. I've just got more energy and more clarity, and everything just seems to be positive. So yeah, I'll definitely stay on with it and see where it takes me, I guess. No. Where, if you could see yourself in the next 12 months, so let's break it down. What are your goals for the next 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months?
Yeah, I get asked this a lot. I'll probably be making it up on the spot. I think overall, something that I've been saying and I'm putting out there is that on December the 31st, I want to be able to go for a walk wherever I am, whatever's going on, and look back on every single day of the year and be able to honestly say within me, but we stayed consistent. We did this day in, day out. We didn't shy away. We didn't retreat like we always do. We got the damn thing done.
Nice.
By ways of goals, for me, I'll probably break them down 3 months, which is what? March. I want to be under, not that I do this much, but I want to be under 200 kgs. That's what I'm chasing.
Okay.
I'm actually chasing it before the end of the 75 hard. However, I'm not chasing it as in changing anything. I don't want to change anything. I'm not going to drop my calorie intake down to something ridiculous like 800. I'm just gunning for it in my mind. And so stay consistent with the 75 hard and get that done. So under 200. And then the next one is I want to take my wife to Hawaii in August. So I want to fit on the plane.
Nice one.
Every time I travel, I have to book 2 seats. And there is no way I'm booking 2 seats to Hawaii just for me. And I don't want to have to squash my wife as usual if she's flying with me. So definitely fit in the plane. That's definitely another one. I'd go my 12-month, which I kind of alluded to, and I'm really trying to, like you're saying, manifest it and motivate myself enough to actually put it out. Just say, why not on your podcast, mate? Bro, I want to go for 365 hard. That's something that I want it so bad because just quickly last year or the year before, I did and I go a bit crazy sometimes. I did a juice fast. That was literally just raw fruit and vegetables juiced, and that's it. That's all I had. And I did that it was supposed to be 100 days. I did it for 92. And so I ended up in hospital and was real stupid. Didn't do what I was supposed to do. Just thought I knew everything. And so I've had this real bone to pick with challenges. This is my probably 9th attempt at 75 hard. And so there's something within me that just wants to complete something. So my wife has said, just complete the 75 first and then have a look at something. But I'm like, nah, I think I got this. It's day 55. So I really want to just, that is my 12-month goal is December 31st. It's really November the 28th, but December 31st, 365 hard. And complete it all honestly. Yeah, that would be a sick goal to complete at the end of the year.
Yeah, man. What is the what's the reason for Hawaii in August? Is that wedding anniversary or?
No, just family. My wife's got family over there. I got a bit of family over there. She's like, and this goes down to the whole thing I speak about around robbing my family of experiences, being the size and the weight and the mindset that I used to have, is that my wife and my daughter have traveled. They've been all over the show. And my wife's traveled on her own without me. But she really wants to take me to Hawaii, and meet her family and have the experiences that they've had over there. And so I said, well, August is far enough. Why not? So yeah, we'll just go in August just because.
Yeah, so you've got the drive there, man. You've got, the commitment and the drive and the goal and the the vision to go, you know what, this is getting smashed. And you can see that. You can see that with everything that you're doing. You know, it doesn't look like there's any signs of slowing down from what I can see, brother. And I wish you nothing but the best in your future and for you and your family. And I'll definitely keep my eye out in August. And hopefully we see you boarding a plane, and that'll bring a little smile to my face. And that wraps it up for me, mate. And, you know, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with me and whoever's wants to listen to it. I'm sure that there will be. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's been touching. I've brought up a couple of old little emotions in me that I never thought that I'd see again, but some really good conversation in there, and I appreciate you.
Man, thanks for holding this space, man. Not only for me, but everyone else that you've had on here, and even what you're doing, man. Awareness and sharing experiences. And I believe in what you said. Yep, there's a space for professional support.
Yeah.
But at the same time, whether it be a gateway or the thing that people are needed, what you're doing, man, is amazing. It's such a light for people literally walking around in the dark, man. So I appreciate you and everything that you do, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's it, mate. And now it's time for me to go to IKEA with the missus and buy some furniture.
Cool as, man. Well, you have a good rest of your day, man.
Yeah, I will do. You have a good night's sleep where you are. So, mate, take it easy. Ta-da.
Cheers.
Ta-da. Bye.